morning, good morning, good afternoon, peace and blessings. It's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless, and I'm back with another update on the war between United States and Iran by way of Israel. Okay, last time we spoke, we touched on the update with the ceasefire and blockade, which is still going, it's still ongoing. There's a few more elements to what is going on, but it seems that we may be getting somewhat close to negotiating a deal between Iran and the United States. It's iffy, it's shaky, because both countries do not trust each other. But as of today, which is May 7th, it's roughly about 9:30, 9:40 a.m. at that time that I'm recording this video. So who knows what might transpire, but it's day to day different things going on. And as the title says, epic fury over, economic fury escalates, while Project Freedom paused for negotiations. Now, we already know Epic Fury was the military portion of the United States and Israel on Iran when they were, you know, blowing up all their military bases, and they took out majority of their Navy, and their Air Force is gone. So we got what they call air supremacy in the air, and we got pretty much the the Navy, the sea. We got the sea pretty much. Uh, we knocked out majority of their bigger ships, so I think that we have 70% of their military has been destroyed in Iran due to Operation Epic Fury, and that's when they implemented. That's when Iran came with the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, which we all know, and like we've been saying in the last video and those before, that is very essential to why our gas prices in the whole world, oil and energy prices have went up, because that was strategic for them to block the Strait of Hormuz, because that's responsible for 20% of the world's oil and energy, over there. So they used that as a strategy to stop the United States. And then the United States said, okay, well, since you're going to put a blockade around the Strait of Hormuz, which is on their, on the coast of their country in Iran, we're going to put a blockade around your blockade so you can't get no money, right? So that's where we are. And at that point, that's where we have economic fury, which is still going on. Secretary Scott Bessent is infiltrating their banking system, putting freezes on accounts from other countries, and they're saying they're retaining that money to give it back to the Iranian citizens when all of this is over with. The ceasefire with the blockade on our end is stopping them from getting almost $500 million a day, because they can't buy or sell or trade oil right now. So we're destroying them, which I think is having even more of a effect on Iran than epic fury. The economic fury is, causing them to lose financially, and a civil unrest amongst the citizens, because their economy is imploding. Their oil wells are filling up, which can, they said, I guess they got from 2 weeks to maybe a month before their wells start to explode. So they having a hard time, and that is bringing them. That's Trump putting pressure on them through epic fury and economic fury to bring them to the table to negotiate, right? So we got that going on. And then Trump implemented another phase to this, which is called Project Freedom. Now, what Project Freedom would do is, now, since they started this blockade and the ceasefire, there is 1,500 ships from all over the world that's stuck in limbo over there in the Strait of Hormuz, trying to get to or get from. But when they put those blockades up, those ships got stuck. So it's 1,500 of those ships. You got ships from all over the planet over there, and they've been stuck there for these past 2 months, basically. And what Project Freedom was doing, what Trump said is, I'm gonna go in, we gonna get these ships up out of here. We're gonna start to create a passageway for these 1,500 ships that's been stuck, and Iran is not gonna be able to stop us. See, what Iran, even though we took out majority of their navy, they still have these little speedboats with little machine guns on them. They very fast, and it's like they shooting at the other ships that don't have. They might be able to put one missile on it. So they got these they got hundreds of these speedboats where they got machine guns on them, and that's what they have left in the sea. So when people are trying to get out of the Strait of Hormuz, they will attack it with either a missile, or they might be shooting machine guns at them. It's basically like y'all riding around on jet skis with AK-47s. That's what the military has been reduced to. So it's like, man, y'all tripping, man. Listen, man, we got a whole big Navy brigade. We got fighter jets. We got Apache helicopters. We got them sold up, man. These little speedboats and these little jet skis, it's like y'all ain't got no match for that, bro. And it's like Trump is like trying to give them every option to just make a deal, because it's like this is beyond overkill if we turn up on them. We just gonna obliterate them. They don't have a fighting chance, and that's not cool to just blow these little ships up out the water. It's like they don't understand that they have lost. If you're reduced to some jet skis flying around with machine guns, while we got helicopters and fighter jets and Navy ships, and that's not a fair fight. You know what I'm saying? So we trying to be diplomatic here. Now, when Trump started to, use the Navy through Project Freedom, a lot of people started to sign on because, make no mistake, this is affecting other countries in Europe and all over that region more than it affects us, as far as financially. So you got the UK and Italy and France. They starting to send people and ships in, and their little military to come assist us with Project Freedom. Saudi Arabia, UAE, all these other countries, like, yeah, we with that, Trump. So you pretty much had a few dozen countries that was with Trump to open up this passageway to get these ships out of there, because a lot of their ships are stuck in this situation, right? But the main country that stepped up first, that was a surprise, was Ukraine. Ukraine actually is sending special ships to demine the Strait of Hormuz. They have the technology and they have the advanced ships to go in and get these, sea mines out of the water that Iran, that's another thing that Iran did that we talked about in other videos. They threw these huge sea mines in the sea, and they forgot where they put them. And that was a way where, these ships could be destroyed if these sea mines, come in contact with it. We can do it, but it would take us longer because we don't have the special technology to do it faster. But Ukraine stepped up first. And what's significant about Ukraine is, y'all know they have a going on 4-year war with Russia. So for them to step up while they still fighting off Russia was huge. I mean, even Joe Biden was giving Ukraine all that money. I'm like, man, y'all stepped up at the right time to come in and get these sea mines out the water because y'all got the equipment to do it, right? So once Ukraine stepped up, that's what forced Italy, France, you know what I'm saying, to step in. In China, Iran leadership met up with China, and China like, hey man, y'all need to take this deal. They put pressure on Iran too. Now China, they hugely affected by this because they get a lot of their oil from Iran. So it's like, the whole world was turning on Iran, and Trump actually got about 11 ships out through Project Freedom, and then he stopped it. You know what I'm saying? He stopped it because that would embarrass Iran at this point. So Iran act like they want to talk now because they can't do nothing about it. If we open up the strait and get all these ships out, your leverage is done. That's gonna make the whole world say, "Oh man, they ain't got it." So we trying to do this diplomatically. Understand, Iran is very big on how they look in this whole situation. They don't want to appear weak to the rest of the world. They really big on clout. I'm learning this about Iran. Like a lot of stuff they put out there is clickbait and clout. You know what I'm saying? So they just don't want to look a certain way. So they act like they want to sit back at the table. And in the process of doing that, don't make no mistake, with Ukraine stepping up in such a big way with these ships, that I don't want to forget that Putin in Russia is upset because Putin, with this blockade going on between the United States and Iran, he making a fortune off of oil right now. He making a fortune off of oil. So Ukraine, they doing this to give us some aid and assistance, but more so they want to stop Putin money train from coming in. Putin is upset because he's selling oil at 3 times the cost over there. Since the Strait of Hormuz is closed off, a lot more people going to shop with Putin, and he putting a lot of tax on it. But now Ukraine stepping in is more so to stop Putin money, so they, he'll be less financially capable of, inflicting war against Ukraine. So Ukraine, they got interest in this as well, personally. So Ukraine is also supplying drones to UAE. UAE. We said in the last video left OPEC. Now OPEC is a company that regulates all of the oil in that region, that they can only sell so much oil or what have you. But UAE left OPEC, so that's gonna be another blow to Iran. Iran got mad and fired missiles at UAE also. When they left OPEC, that means that they can sell as much oil as they want, and they can go on the other side to, avoid the Strait of Hormuz. Right now, I think they can only sell up to so many tons of oil a day. But now it's unlimited, as much as they could pump out, since they not being regulated by OPEC, and Iran mad at them for doing that, so they fired missiles at UAE. That's something else that's going on. So this ceasefire is very fragile, as you can see. So Trump gave Iran, since y'all want us to not embarrass y'all with Operation Freedom to get these ships out of here after we got 11 of them, because a lot of them are scared to move because they scared Iran gonna pull up on these jet skis with these AK-47s shooting at them. So he like, hey man, y'all good, we got y'all. You know what I'm saying? So Trump say, hey, y'all don't want us to embarrass y'all. Y'all got 48 hours to make a deal. Now remember, there's 3 major aspects to the deal, but I think they got like a 14 point contract. You know what I'm saying? But the main 3 is they got to give up their uranium so they can't make nuclear weapons, meaning that we would be able to go in and take the uranium ourselves, knowing and monitor it for how many, 15, 20 years that they ain't trying to do anything to start up their program to try to acquire nuclear weapons. So number 1 is give up the uranium. Number 2 is open up the Strait of Hormuz because that's international waters. That's against the law for them to try to stop people from going back and from in the strait, because that's international waters. Everybody in the world, we can't allow them to put sea mines in the sea and taxing other countries to go against international waters. Number three is stop subsidizing Hezbollah and the Houthis and other terrorist organizations like, Hezbollah in Lebanon. So those are the three main key things that Trump is saying, that we'll back up off this blockade. We'll open up the strait on our end, and y'all can start getting y'all $500 million a day. You know what I'm saying? Those are the three negotiations, and I think Iran is saying that they considering it at this point. Now, mind you, all of this with the that we're doing right now is a defensive operation. It's a defensive organization. We're not on the attack. We're not. We on defense at this point. So all these little attacks that Iran doing, we ain't even. It don't even affect us. Trump is going out of his way to show them that we're not in epic fury no more. And also, it's that law in the United States that a president has up to 60 days to launch a military operation without the approval of Congress. So we're at that mark. I think we passed 60 days, but Trump's argument is, hey, we had the ceasefire for 3 weeks. We didn't do a full 60 days. So, right now we just on defense. We not bombing them. So that's another reason why Trump's saying if he want to turn it back up, them 3 weeks that he had left over, he got hey, I could use the rest of my 3 weeks to go ahead and start back military operations, because we did a ceasefire. So you see how he playing it. It's like, all right, y'all saying I got 60 days. I didn't use all my 60 days. We sitting back chilling. Because we know the Democrats in Congress, they not going to give Trump the green light to go through it. They want him to stop this whole operation. And so to avoid Congress, I think that's strategically why he put that ceasefire in when he did. He tried to get as much done out of epic fury as he could. That's why he said, man, in a press conference, I told Congress, hey, epic fury over with. It been done. You know what I'm saying? 3 weeks ago. We only did a month and a half, right? So now, the president of Iran, now, like I told y'all in previous videos, there are multiple different branches of leadership in Iran that are in conflict with each other. They are really disjointed in Iran. You got the political branch, which is the president, and then you got the IRGC, which is the military branch. And then there's another branch of military that's it's confusion. When we went in with epic fury, we obliterated their leadership, and it's all over the place. So one group of people, the politicians, the president, and all of that, they want to stop the war, but they want to pretty much work out the deal. But the RRGC, the radical military branch, they the ones that's still going back and forth, want to keep fighting. Basically, they don't want to talk. But I don't know. Maybe lately they want to talk now, but they the ones that keep blowing up stuff at UAE and attacking Israel and all that type of stuff. So now Iran, the RIGC blew missiles at UAE, like I said, for when they left OPEC. And the president of Iran came out publicly and condemned the IRGC for shooting missiles at UAE and called them irresponsible. Y'all compromising the negotiations that we having right now. So there is a split between leadership in Iran, and that's kind of hard to now. Who are we negotiating with, and what kind of power do they possess in Iran? You know what I'm saying? Because we see the political branch is in direct opposing with the IRGC, and they made it public, right? So Project Freedom is paused at the request of Pakistan, also in hopes of a deal that could be reached. Remember, Pakistan is kind of like a mediator. They cool with us, they cool with Iran, trying to get to the bottom of it. If Iran, this is what the White House is saying, why this is so important. Mind you, this conflict with Iran been on for 47 years. And our government is saying if Iran had a nuclear weapon, they can make the world, because people complaining about gas prices right now. But if Iran had a nuclear weapon, they could use that as leverage, and our gas prices could be $9 or $8 or $20. They gonna be like, "What you gonna do about it?" Because we got a nuclear weapon, and y'all know we crazy enough to use it, and there's nothing we could do. So while people complaining about gas prices, you got to think in your mind, if Iran do get their hands on a nuclear weapon, they could hold the world's energy at hostage at will whenever they want to. And it's like, hey, play with us. We suicide bomb. My bad. Got a quick call right quick. But so you don't want a nuclear weapons in the hands of people that believe that if they unalive you by unaliving themselves, they going home they going to heaven. You don't want nobody with a thought process and belief like that to have a nuclear weapon that's screaming death to your country. They don't care. Long as you from that country, that's how they think. They radicalize like that. So it makes sense. Now, it's 2 days to make a deal or the bombing restarts at even a higher intensity. That's what the president is saying. President Trump is saying. If we can't come to a deal, then we're going to go back in militarily and we're going to tear up the rest of what we didn't tear up. The other, we got 70%, we're going to tear up the other 30, right? So Iran says that they are reviewing the proposal from the United States to end the war, right? And Saudi Arabia backed out of Project Freedom because, when Iran started throwing missiles at UAE and Saudi Arabia because, for whatever reason, United States said they're not gonna return fire or because we still in negotiations. And Saudi Arabia, which I feel them, they said, well, shoot, we not gonna let y'all use our airspace, United States, because y'all ain't gonna defend us. So why should we be involved? You know what I'm saying? Y'all not letting the ships through. Y'all pausing everything. So Saudi Arabia say, hey, we out. You know what I'm saying? We don't want nothing to do with it if y'all. And I can't. You can't really blame them for that. You know what I'm saying? They like, man, if y'all ain't gonna defend us, then why would we put ourselves in jeopardy? You know. And my personal opinion on that is, I understand that they trying to get this wrapped up, but I would have let that Project Freedom was a good idea to get them ships out of there. So they just sitting there for these 48 hours. But what I would say is, go ahead and embarrass Iran and jeopardize the negotiations at this point. Because them people, 1,500 ships from all over the world, they need to get home, and that's going to force other countries to come in and help, like Ukraine, Italy, you know what I'm saying, and France. They sending their ships over there too. So, people need the Strait of Hormuz open for, for the world. This is global oil prices for major companies that's dictating the price. If we see whenever there's good news, price go down. Whenever there's bad news, price go back up. It's seesawing like that, right? So I think that, I would have kept that Operation Project Freedom going to get them ships up out of there, and that would have totally embarrassed Iran. And we don't need a deal at that point. We'll just go in and do these military, get these little speedboats out the way. Y'all rolling up on a battleship with a speedboat, man. Y'all man, with Apache helicopters in the sky with you know fighter jets. You know, y'all can't win, bro. We blew 6 or 7 of them already up that tried to, you know what I'm saying, get Bradley. I forgot to mention that part. We did blow about 6, 7 of them up. You know, and keep in mind, Israel is still bombing Hezbollah. They not a part of this ceasefire. And Hezbollah is in Lebanon. You know what I'm saying? And Lebanon pretty much has been invaded by Hezbollah. You know what I'm saying? By, you know, Iran, that's who they fund to do they military, you know, terrorist activity. But yeah, man, I just want to get some updates right now. It's going down as far as negotiations to end uh this war. And Iran right now is reviewing everything. I just wanted to give some details to keep y'all up to date. Went a little longer than I anticipated. But yeah, man, it's your boy Jay Taylor. Voices for the Voiceless. We love y'all. Until next time, we should see you soon. Peace and blessings.